shouldn't be possible.
On a stage like this as well, when there's never been more pressure. And this is a trap play if I've ever seen one. Paranoia sweeps, stun alongside it, rattling with the Sheriff in hand, chewing up the Sentinels players. Not many options are available to you, and Celtics, he didn't have a clue. Blinded up, Spike dropped down into the laps of EDG. This is exactly what we were talking about. There is no room to breathe when there's up to 12 rounds. EDG can feel it. Spike picked back up, earned itself. Sassy, a lot to adjust and overcome. Tens is down and out. EDG.
Earlier today, Sentinels lost to EDG, as you can see just here. And in particular, on their Sunset defense side, they got absolutely stomped 10-2. Right? Not great. And so what went so wrong for Sentinels? Well, we're going to start here with a very unusual round, because I think EDG in part win this round because they make a pretty major mistake themselves. Let me explain. So we're looking at round number 5 here, and this I think was a bit of a turning point in this game. So it's round 5, it's 3-1. Sen have just won a Thrifty, right? So they've actually won a Thrifty to get on the board here. And let's take a look at EDG's mistake, because their mistake is what they buy, right? This is their mistake. They can buy here, but choose to save, right? Which doesn't really make much sense, especially when you've got such big ults, right? And you can start to snowball and, you know, take the momentum back and all of that. But if you take a look at their money, I mean, they can just buy. I mean, okay, Chichu, he can't buy, right? If we take away these sheriffs and add 800 credits to everyone, you know, Simon, he's going to end at 2850, so he might have to forego some utility here, but, you know, he's close enough to buy here. Smoggy can just buy, Kankai can just buy, nobody has enough to buy someone else, and he has a rifle himself, so essentially you can get 5 full rifles here for EDG. And you remember, like, why does that matter? Well, let me explain why that matters, because you'll just see in a second. Look at Sen's defensive setup. They got 4 players here on A. The reason they got 4 players here on A is because of these ults, right? I don't know if this is a read into what EDG like to do with these ults. I actually went back and looked at some of their other rounds with these ults. They tended to go B, so I don't quite know what Sen are reading into it here. But I think more likely what's happening is that these 3 tended to just start on A anyway, and John doesn't want to get hit by a KO ult going B. You know, he wants to keep these trips up, so he's here on A as well. The thing is, from EDG's perspective, they're on an eco. So we're not going to use our ults. Because we're on an eco, right? Until we're in a good situation, we're not going to pop this KO ult to enter the site because we're on an eco. And I think that this strange decision by EDG cost Sen this round. Because either Sen were hard having a read, thinking that, well, they've got to come A with these ults and just got that wrong, you know, and EDG aren't going to use those ults, so, you know, they aren't coming A with that. But then they also just don't think, like, the KO ult is our go signal to rotate, right? These guys will pop KO ult, and that's when we can come across here. But as I said, EDG just don't. they just go onto the site because they're on an eco. And I think it wins them this round, or at least in part helps them win this round, right? Because they just take the site for free. You know, they just literally take the site, see that it's pretty clear, plant the spike. And we're in a 5v5 and the spike is down, and Sen aren't even that close. Right? So a bizarre, like, change here from EDG, and just a bizarre decision not to buy when they could buy, I legitimately think helped them win this round, as now you'll see them close it out.
And this time, it's the same kind of hole in Sen's defense. And so that means that they're forced to play a lot of B retakes.
There's danger here.
There is, even with full rifles for Sentinels, there is danger because these B-lane post plants are so overpowered on
Kill
Sunset.
trips. I mean, nobody's got an ult. He's already getting into position. Be able to play this one. And Sen don't have a lot of time to work with. Kill trips. Chewing up these players, rooted into spot from Sentinels. They've got to find a way to navigate it. Sassy, diffusing, sticking, reveal up, Hunter's Fury, Sassy! My God! It's down to the wire, down to the brink, half earned! But Delsis is the last chance for him! The gang will not let it slip!
And this round also highlighted just a kind of general thematic problem that Sen had in this game as well, was that they weren't contesting the B site too much, and then look, it's not your fault, Sen, that this is bad map design, but it's bad map design, and it's hard to beat this post plant. You know, this is a hard post plant to beat, especially when we've all been on A and have to, you know, clear out some other areas as well. You know, this is not easy to do, especially against a Sova ult here from nobody also. And they got pretty close to winning it, right? Getting on the stick. But this is hard to win. And this is something that they really, really struggled with in the EDG, just kept going B and then just kept ending up in this exact post plan pretty much. And guess what? This is really hard to beat when you're the defenders. This spam is OP, and it's a problem with the map, and I can't wait for it to change. I can't wait to see what they do. But for now, it's still OP. And then I think we started to see after that round, Sen go into a mode that they have gone into a couple times, particularly when they're struggling, where it just feels like they don't know what to do, right? If plan A hasn't worked and we've tried something else and that hasn't worked, they start to get a little muddled in what they're doing. And I think we started to see that. We'll take a look at the very next round where they just become quite passive, right? Like after the first kind of foray or whatever, they're not proactively doing much in the mid round, right? And that's when I think Sen really start to struggle, because that's like their strength, right? That's like one of the best things that they do overall is some of the proactivity in their mid round. But you'll see it here that, you know, we're just going to end up in a very passive shell, right? EDG, they don't really do that much, to be honest, in this round, right? Like they drone in here towards market. Okay, hasn't seen anyone. But you're just going to see we're going to end up in a spot where Sen, eventually when we start, you know, to do this exec, like you look at them now, right? You look at the map now and you're already like, ooh, you know, we're quite passive, right? I mean, Zekin's already looking to see if someone's looked all the way up A, right? Like there's still a minute left in the round, right? And we end up in this spot here. And when you're in this spot here, it's like EDG can go to either site and the spike will get down and we are just in a 5v5 retake. And as I said, particularly here on B Sunset, you know, you don't want to be in 5v5 retakes. And then there's the second problem, right? That we thought that they were going to use KO last round, but then they didn't. But now they do. But now we're not playing anti-KO. This is the very next round, right? So we were playing anti-KO, but then they didn't on their eco round. But now they've got a full buy, as do we. But now they do. And now our Cypher setup is gone. Right? And when the map just looks like this and it's like you can exec to either side and we're not coming up with any proactive plan to take mid or anything like that, you're just kind of asking to lose.
Not playing the Cypher offside, John QT. They get caught. No command emanating out, and that means the trips go online too. They were hoping to play some kill trip setups as well.
And they drop off. Tens was thinking about trying to get into backside there, and the rest of his team wasn't willing.
Once more, Sen are going to be tested. This time, we're trying to hold on for these retakes as well. Nobody. The first point of contact. Who's the one to trade online out of Nightfall? Scatters his way through, in through the main angle. Noise. Cut away. Zekin with the defuse, but he's pushed back from some form of the util. Overdrive popped off. Kang! Goodness me! Tears them to pieces. TP up and over. Tens that is precise. And he's got to be keen, surgical, whipping his way through and behind. He's going to try and defend this one. So QT brought down, but a half earned. There's a chance and a potential. G2 flips the site.
So things aren't going well here for Sentinels, and they gave that one a good try, but again, B main postman, hard to beat, right? So we get to 7-1 and Sen take a timeout, and basically they say, you know, let's be more proactive, be more active in general, you know, come up with some proactive plans, let's actually do something in the mid round, right? And the reason I'm showing you this round is to then follow up with what happened in the next round, where Sen are actually going to win this round. This is one of the few rounds that Sentinels do actually manage to win, and to me, the reason that they win it is because they've come off a timeout, and Kaplan has definitely told them, guys, you can't be this passive, come up with a proactive plan. Right, so in this round, you're going to see they do just that, right? They've started out towards A here, right? We were out towards A. We're going to go for a mid pinch now, right? Coming down to, you know, 108 left in the round. You know, some time has elapsed. Let's go for a mid pinch. Wow, we get the first 2 kills, right? It's different, right? We're not playing super passive, super scared Valorant anymore. We're now playing to actually, you know, get in the faces of EDG, you know, actually do something here, and they're going to manage to win this round. They end up in a good spot with the spike, and, you know, EDG are in a very tough spot here and eventually lose the round, right? So this is how Sen managed to actually win a round here. You know, get back on the board, get it to 7-2. But then EDG came up with a very, very good plan for the very next round after that, after realizing probably what Sen were going to do. Because what EDG decided to do then is, again, we get this A skirmish from both sides. And again, it kind of ends up with, you know, Sentinels being somewhat in control here. Not fully, but they're going to do well enough here overall. But then the plan that EDG come up with is really, really good, right? So we kind of go back and forth, you know, kind of like a 50-50 neutral battle. Obviously, we've seen a lot here from EDG. We then get a little reclear here with the C's. And now they come up with a very good plan, EDG, because in their prior game, if you watch their prior game versus DRX on this map for Sentinels, you will know that in particular what Sen struggled with was these kind of deep mid pushes, right? That they just didn't seem to have the protocols of how to actually deal with that kind of thing, right? And so what we're going to get here is you see Kankang's going to walk up there, and nobody in Kankang are going to threaten to do just that. Whilst that's going on, though, we got these three, so they're looking to do this kind of mid-split just here. We got these three coming to do the kind of other part of the A-split, right, which is just out here. Now, you can't see it behind my head. In fact, I'm going to move my head for you, just down here. You can see Zels is here. He's ready with a stun. You can see the way that Zekken is kind of lined up here, right? It looks like he's got his run ready to come and slide out. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be stun, slide out, you know, and then Sassy swings normal, right? So we got two people here swinging off the stun. Instead, though, I put my face just back where it's meant to be. Instead, what we get, and I don't know exactly why this is, but just take a look at it. It could be because Kankang puts this wall up here, right? And if 10 sees this wall, it's possible that they think this is where the majority of EDG are, and therefore this is likely only one, maybe two players instead here, right? So instead of doing a util clear, we're just gonna dry swing, right? We're just gonna go and contact out. Maybe that's the case, or maybe they just choose to contact out anyway, but you see that Zekken does not slide, and that happens instead. And that's round over. Now, again, I would love to be in Sentinels comms to know exactly why did they not, you know, go for the slide stun, all of that. Maybe it was the wall there, thinking that, you know, only one or two of EDG would be there and they're not running into a firing squad. Either way, nice goal by EDG. They knew that Sen were going to get proactive at some point, and they got them. And then after that proactive plan didn't work, Sentinels started to fall apart a little bit, right? They started losing some rounds and some aim duels and just some moments, you know, of just not being great. Right, so for instance, I mean, there's even a little moment here with this drone, right? The Zekken, he's going to get suppressed by this knife. So they know that Zekken is here. So when he hears this drone, you know, Zekken should be like, don't worry, guys, I'll destroy it. I've already revealed myself, so I'll destroy it. Right, like that's what it should be. But you're going to see as this drone comes around the corner, John is just also out here. Right, so we're just giving away more information than we really need to. But then we just get lost in the weeds. Here's Chichu, he's lurking in mid, and you're just going to see as this exit comes in, I mean, just a lack of awareness that this can be a thing, that this is a thing that you can actually do, that you can have a lurk. You know, this is like 2021 Nats when everyone's like, what, you can lurk in this game? You don't have to be with the pack? That's what Zekken's going to look like right now.
10-2. Either way you slice it is bad.
Zelsis has his ult online. It looks like they want to play a more aggressive defense of B.
Oh, trying to send it. That's as soon as Simon uses his ult, that's the trigger to try and slow them down, but there will be no follow-up. And Chichu, my God! This guy, he won't be denied. Playing in through Kankang. He's hungry for more. There's blood in the water sense, but punishment in sight. Assassi will drop him eventually. Down to his knees, but it's still EDG in control. Backside players, B main still theirs. We've seen Sen perform miracles, but this just a little too unlikely. When EDG are setting up pop players like this, contesting, squeezing Sen for absolutely every inch of space, there is no chance in hell for them here. The map is in their hands.